Okay, so now that I've uncovered, for most people's reasoning, that we are being controlled and manipulated through audible and visual means, as shown in my last video about the Star Spangled Banner. This is obviously extremely sophisticated now. You probably wouldn't even be able to detect it with normal computers, media separation, etc. It would be very difficult to track down. But I'm sure that in some ways, a lot of advertising companies and some companies, corporations, are still using this. And it's very non-sophisticated. Of course, not nearly as sophisticated as the stuff the government uses. And it can definitely be tracked down. Alpha and beta stimulation, as well as manipulation through subliminal messaging. Excuse me. So I guess what I'll go ahead and talk about at this point is other ways that we're being manipulated. And it goes beyond what just our consciousness is being manipulated. Our genetics are being manipulated. And then, of course, because they control money, they can control, media, they can control what we think, they control the government. And so, therefore, our perception is once again changed to believe that there is a conflict, which creates division, which creates more control. Whenever there's division, there's always going to be a control. It's like Napoleon Bonaparte said. He didn't invent divide and conquer. He simply realized that it was being used against him. Jitterloff, we've been had. So, GMOs, hormone therapies, organic food, everything. All of this it's a big sham. Food, like they're saying drugs are bad. The drug war is created for a couple of reasons. One of the first reason is obviously to create division, which creates more control. But the second reason, I believe that there is an agenda to enslave African Americans. I don't know if I'll ever make a video on that. I'm not sure the reason why. I don't have enough evidence to prove at this point anything. But I certainly believe, there are things that would point to and suggest, and, a friend of mine might actually chime in on this if he ever does decide to. And he has a very interesting theory that I've heard talking about the origins of mankind. There may be something to it. I don't know. All I'm saying is what I know, the bunny trail I'm going down. So we'll talk about food and how our taste and our touch is being manipulated, as well as our genetics, our brain chemistry, and our physiology. Because obviously through genetics and brain chemistry, you can change all these things. Food is a drug. And the drug war is intended to promote secretly, covertly, bad drugs that are destructive, like alcohol, cigarettes, tobacco, hard drugs, methamphetamines, and heroin. I'm not sure about cocaine. I don't know if cocaine I imagine it legitimately does have a medicinal purpose, but a lot of the hard drugs don't have a real legitimate purpose. They really can't help you, as many people would like to believe. Things like marijuana, though, there is a war against that. And it's created, in other words, to create division so that we can't actually see that it could be used as a potential healing substance. DMT, MDMA, a lot of the non-hard drugs that people don't get addicted to, that are not habit-forming, but they allow you to think. They allow you to self-reflect. They allow you to connect with other people. LSD, for example. And so the war on drugs actually has those two purposes, is to create a secret push towards destruction, and also to create division so that people will simply stay away from certain things so they won't wake up. So food. Food is a drug. When you take in food, it changes your DNA. It changes your cells. It changes your brain chemistry. It alters your brain chemistry. It alters how you think, what you think. It releases dopamine, so you think certain foods are good, even though they're highly processed and they contain chemicals that trick your brain into believing that these foods are good. Talking about McDonald's food. So there's so many of them. I mean, you know, it's just like advertising. It's really, and they work hand in hand, honestly. So it is another one of the systems of controls. And there's a movie called Branded. I'll put a link to the Facebook page for the movie Branded. You can watch it on Netflix if you have it. I highly recommend it. You shouldn't necessarily just watch the movie and think what the movie says. You need to critically think about the movie itself. Now, the idea that it promotes, and I won't ruin the movie, is that there is there is a control, or a war of control, and which is true, which is very real. You know, like I talked about before, over mankind. And what they're trying to control, what they're trying to war over, is basically money. But that money is not our enemy. The enemy is actually controlling the money in this instance, in real life. So you kind of have to take the movie with a spoon of salt. But the premise of the movie is very, very good.